वेलकम टू प्रिंस शॉर्टेड हाउस। स्टूडेंट्स, आज हमारी प्रोग्रेसिव मंथली मैगजीन अगस्त 2021 से एक्सरसाइज नंबर 15 और 16 जो मैं आपको लगभग हर दूसरे दिन तीसरे दिन रिपीट करता हूँ कि 100 वर्ड्स ए मिनट नॉन स्टॉप, जो ऑलरेडी हमारी डिक्टेशन 80 वर्ड्स ए मिनट डल चुकी हैं, डलने वाली हैं, इसमें से होती हैं। और इसके साथ मैं आपसे 1 मिनट की बात साझा करना चाहूँगा कि ये पर्टिकुलर समय है, एक बिल्कुल एग्जैक्ट टाइम है कि आप जो स्टेनोग्राफर्स हैं, जो प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, जिन्होंने स्टार्ट करना है, उनके लिए स्पेशल अपॉर्चुनिटीज इस समय चल रही हैं। बहुत सारी वैकेंसी हैं। मैं पर्टिकुलर डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट, दिल्ली डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट की बात करूँगा कि नोटिफिकेशन आ चुका है। लगभग पीए की जो वैकेंसीज हैं 550 के लगभग, और एसपीए की 120 के लगभग, जो लास्ट ईयर में सिलेक्शन हुए हैं और जिनकी ज्वाइनिंग अभी होने वाली है। और एडवांस में नोटिफिकेशन है, जो बच्चे ग्रेजुएट हैं वो आज भी शुरू कर सकते हैं, और जो बच्चे ऑलरेडी कर रहे हैं वो अच्छे से प्रैक्टिस करें। और ख़ास बात इसमें है कि अपना बेस अच्छा करें। बेस जिसका कमज़ोर है वो स्पीड में बहुत जल्दी पिकअप नहीं कर पाता। पहले बेस को एग्जैक्ट एक्यूरेट कीजिए। और दूसरी बात है, जो आपकी लिमिट्स हैं 60, 70, 80, पहले उसको कवर कीजिए, बार बार लिखिए, तब आप उससे ऊपर जाइए 90, 100 या उससे अब हो। तो हम स्टार्ट करते हैं एक्सरसाइज नंबर 15, 100 वर्ड्स इन मिनट प्लस 60। रेडी, स्टार्ट। सर, the point I am trying to make is, even if it is necessary to amend the constitution, we have to make a bold venture. Can the body called the election commission have executive power, legislative power and judicial power also? This is one point I want to make. No institution under this parliament system has all the three powers combined in one. As friends know, the constitution gives the chief election commissioner the status of a Supreme Court judge, that is, if he has to be removed, the same process has to be adopted even though he may have been appointed in a different way. The election commission should have been a multi-member commission. This is the recommendation made by the Parliamentary Committee in its report of 1972, that the commission should be a full commission and Parliament should enact a law. Mr. Law Minister, I would request you to examine how many articles of the Constitution Parliament has failed to take note of and give shape of a statutory form. This is one of those articles wherein a full-fledged commission is visualized. It cannot be a single-member commission. Even remotely, I do not want to cast any aspersion on any chief election commissioner. That is not my purpose. There is scope for error of judgment. It is not a question of motive or intention. If the election commission declares an election null and void, what can be done? What the Supreme Court held was that if a wrong decision has been given and a repoll has taken place, then the aggrieved person could go to the High Court for relief through an election petition. There is no other way for relief. I do not know how my friend is happy with the decision of the commission. He claims it as a victory for him. I am sorry for the lack of depth of understanding or political vision in the matter. My friend requested for a repoll only in 56 polling booths. But the Election Commission generously ordered repoll in 800 polling booths. What is happening in the country? This is a basic question. The Supreme Court said natural justice has to be kept in mind while making the decision to declare an election null and void. But to ask the whole constituency should go for a repoll how much it costs the government. It is not for the election commission to annul an election according to me. This is a fundamental matter. But this was not debated in the House. It should have been debated. Secondly, take the propriety, forget the law for a moment. There is an aggrieved candidate in Garhwal by-election. Polling was disturbed in 65 polling booths. The Election Commission ordered repoll in all the booths. What has been the argument? Induction of outside police. It is a very strange argument. Does the Election Commission enjoy so much of executive power as to deploy police and to deploy services? I have got the Election Commission's recommendations before me. Not even one recommendation refers to deployment of police or maintenance of law and order. It speaks only of transfer of officers. I request all the members to study these recommendations. I am not holding any brief either for Haryana Chief Minister or Punjab Chief Minister. The present ministers and chief ministers must know their limitations. In fact, in Nehru's time, we had a convention that the ministers never went to do election propaganda in by-election. We used to restrain ourselves, and so there was no question of involvement in a by-election. What has the Haryana Chief Minister done? It might be a party member. Mr. Law Minister, do not think it is a party matter. You are not here permanently. We are not here permanently. But the nation is permanent. This is the time to do some introspection when we are at the crossroads. The Janata Party did not learn the lesson from the Congress defeat in 1977. Therefore, the Janata Party failed. The Congress also did not learn from the Janata Party's collapse. We can learn not only from our own mistakes, but also from others' mistakes. On the other side, also, they seem to have done it. If my friend also has done, those who indulge in violence, they are actually the enemies of democracy. I condemn it. We should be serious about it. We must know where the Election Commission should actually stop. Free and fair elections cannot be conducted easily. The Election Commission has to plan everything in advance. In our own state, Mr. Law Minister, people were ready for election to the Legislative Council. It is the Election Commission which has to fix date. We are now told that the elections are postponed. Periodical elections or elections in time strengthen the political system. Timely election, therefore, is very important. During Nehru's time, elections used to take place as per schedule. This has to come about as our political culture. Stop. Next paragraph. Say number 16. Sir, I am grateful to the honorable member who have made their contribution while discussing the performance of the Ministry of Commerce. Sir, this house has its own limitations, particularly in regard to the discussion of a subject with reference to the demands for grants. But we have been able to have a discussion on this particular ministry after quite a few years. And the advantage is that when the demand was discussed in the other house, after that the import-export policy for the year 1998-99 was announced. The honorable members had the opportunity also to keep that policy at the back of their minds while making their observations on the functioning of the ministry. Sir, it is known to the honorable members so far as our international trade is concerned, the year which we just passed was really a difficult year. Naturally, the members have expressed their concern over the widening trade gap, the growth in imports being in the neighborhood of more than 20% and growth in exports much less than that. In absolute terms, it is not yet possible to indicate the firm figures. But the trade gap worked out to be anywhere between rupees 4500 crores and rupees 4800 crores. The reason is also known to the honorable members. So far as petrol and petroleum products are concerned, the full impact of the price hike was felt this year. Nearly two-thirds of total export earnings are being spent on importing petroleum and petroleum products alone. There, too, the scope of maneuverability is extremely limited. As the honorable members are aware, the total import of petrol and petroleum products is almost inelastic for the last few years. In absolute terms, we are keeping the quantum almost at the same level, though we are paying much more, and that too, according to my assessment, is also irreducible minimum because we want to maintain our agricultural program. We have to energize our pump sets, and diesel is a must. It is necessary to maintain the national transport service and at the same time to provide kerosene oil to the large number of villages. Import of fertilizers is absolutely a must if we want to maintain our agricultural program. Therefore, the scope of extremely limited to reduce the import of petrol and petroleum products during the current financial year. And in that context, the strategy which has been worked out is to have a vigorous export effort to reduce our dependence on imports for the areas where we can and thoroughly give encouragement to import substitution. So far as exports are concerned, it is known to the honorable members even up to 1995-96 we were having a reasonable growth rate in the neighborhood of 24 to 25%, particularly for the last 3 years. but we could not maintain that growth rate in the next 3 years. Again, it has started picking up. In this connection, sir, I would like to mention one particular point which has been very often quoted to show that India's performance on the export front is quite insignificant, and very often an agreement is put forward that our share in the foreign trade is almost negligible. I do not deny it. From the early 50s, when our share in the international trade was roughly 2%, it has come down to almost half a percent today. But it is because of certain factors, and one of the important factors is that deliberately we took a policy of import substitution. Secondly, the share of a particular country in the international trade and world trade is not so much relevant. What is more relevant is the percentage of exports. And if we look at it from that angle, we will find, and if I understand the figure correctly, and I hope I have the figure with me. Therefore, there has been a qualitative change. We are not happy. We want much more growth. The level of growth is not satisfactory, and it is not up to the necessity which we require. But at the same time, we shall have which we require. But at the same time, we shall have to acknowledge the fact that there has been growth. And in this connection, very often it is pointed out that whatever growth is there, it is mainly because of the inflation in value. It has increased, and in quantity it has not increased. I would like to quote some figures to point out that there has been an upward trend in value, and there has been an upward trend in volume also. Secondly, sir, as the honorable members have pointed out, and I do share their concern, the growing protectionism in the international trade is standing in the way of expansion of exports from the developing countries. In almost all the international forums, we have taken it up, and here we have been able to identify the areas and tried to impress upon the developed countries without getting any result. Stop.